There once lived a noble prophet named Abraham, also known as Ibrahim in Arabic. And Abraham prayed to Allah Almighty for many years to give him a child, but he had no children. One day, Allah Almighty answered his prayer and blessed him with a beautiful baby boy whom he named Ismail. One day, when Ismail was still a little baby, Allah Almighty revealed to Abraham, "I want you to take your wife, Hagar, and your son, Ismail, to a dry valley far away from people, where there are no trees, no water, and no one to help them. This valley will become Mecca, the holiest city in Islam." Upon hearing this, Hagar asked Abraham, "Did Allah really tell you to do this?" He replied, "Yes." So she said, "If Allah has told you that, then Allah will not forget us or allow us to suffer." Then Abraham kissed his wife and son goodbye and left them in that valley and put his trust in Allah. They stayed there for days, and soon their water supply finished. Little Ismail got thirsty and started crying. Hagar couldn't bear seeing her baby in pain, so she went to a nearby hill called Safa and shouted, "Oh, if anyone is here, please help my child. He is thirsty and wants some water," but nobody answered her. She came back to the baby and said, "Don't worry, my son, I am going to another hill called Marwa. Maybe there is someone there who can help us." So she started running fast between the two hills, Safa and Marwa, hoping to find water or someone to help her. She did this 7 times. On the 7th time, while Hagar was running, her foot hit something hard. She stopped and looked down and saw water gushing out from under the feet of baby Ismail. It was the blessed water of Zamzam, and it is still there today, providing water for millions of Muslims who come to Mecca for Hajj every year. After a few years, Ismail grew up into a strong and obedient boy. He helped his mother with everything, and both of them lived there peacefully. One night, Abraham had a dream. In the dream, Allah told him, "Take your son, Ismail, whom you love very much, and go to Mecca. There you will sacrifice him for the sake of Allah." When Abraham woke up from the dream, he felt sad, but he knew that the dreams of prophets are true. So he went to his son and told him about his dream. Ismail replied, "O my father, do as you are commanded. You will find me, God willing, among the patient." Then Abraham said, "Wait here, my son. I will go and perform the sacrifice." So Abraham took Ismail by the hand, and they walked toward the place of sacrifice in Mecca. As they were walking, Ismail said to his father, "Father, have you finished making the preparations for the sacrifice?" Abraham replied, "No, my son, the preparations are not yet complete. If you want, we can go back home." Ismail said, "No, by Allah, I will not ask you to do that. Do what Allah has commanded you. May Allah have mercy on you." Then Ismail said, "This is the place where I will be sacrificed." Abraham looked at his son and couldn't control his tears. All the way from that day, he had protected and loved Ismail so much. And now he had to sacrifice him. How could he do that? Even though Abraham knew that Allah would bless him with another son, he couldn't help but cry. Tears rolled down his cheeks as he started to make the preparations for the sacrifice. After a while, he brought the knife to Ismail's neck. But before he could do anything, he heard a voice calling out, "Abraham, Ibrahim, you have indeed fulfilled the vision." Abraham turned around and saw instead of his son a great ram. This was a miracle from Allah Almighty. Abraham was so happy and thankful to Allah, he immediately sacrificed the ram. That is why every year on the 10th day of Dhul al-Hijjah, the last month of the Islamic calendar, Muslims around the world sacrifice animals such as sheep, goats, camels, and cows in remembrance of Prophet Abraham's willingness to sacrifice his son for the sake of Allah. This day is called Eid al-Adha, which means the Feast of Sacrifice. After this incident, Allah Almighty commanded Abraham and Ismail to build a house in Mecca where people from all over the world can come and worship Allah. This house is called the Kaaba, and even today, more than 1.8 billion Muslims all over the world pray towards it 5 times a day. Once the Kaaba was built, Allah Almighty said to Abraham, "I have chosen this house and placed it in your lineage. So as long as there are people on earth, they will come to it and perform Hajj for the sake of Allah." Then Allah Almighty told Abraham, "You have done a great service to me by building this house. So I will protect you and your family from any harm." After that, Abraham and his son Ismail continued spreading the message of Allah to the people around them. Many people accepted Islam, the message of submission to the will of Allah, while others rejected it. When Ismail grew up, he married and had children of his own. Together with his father, he kept calling people to worship one God, Allah, and to stay away from shirk, which means associating partners with Allah in worship. Unfortunately, some people did not believe in Allah and started worshipping idols made out of stone and wood. They used to come to Mecca for trade, but they also came to worship these idols. Eventually, they started worshipping these idols more than anything else. Seeing this, Abraham and Ismail were very upset because Mecca was the place where Allah Almighty wanted only one God to be worshipped. So one day, Abraham and Ismail decided to destroy all the idols in Mecca. They took huge stones and broke the idols into pieces. The people who worshipped these idols were very angry when they saw that. They said, "Whoever did this must leave Mecca or we will kill him." Abraham and Ismail knew that they would face a lot of trouble, but they didn't care because they wanted to obey Allah, so they started to leave Mecca. On their way, they found a valley near the city called Beersheba. Abraham liked the valley and decided to settle there with his son. From there, they continued preaching about the oneness of Allah to the people around them. However, some kings of the area did not believe in Allah. The most powerful king was Nimrod, and he wanted everyone in his kingdom to worship idols like him. So he sent his soldiers to arrest Abraham and his son. When his soldiers arrived in Beersheba, they couldn't find Abraham because Allah Almighty hid him from them. But they did find Ismail and arrested him. They took him in front of King Nimrod, and Nimrod asked him, "Why don't you worship the gods I have chosen? Why do you worship one God?" Ismail replied, "My God is one, and besides him, there is no God worthy of worship. Your gods are just idols that cannot hear or see. They are made by hands, and hands are created by a maker, and the maker is worthy of worship, not the thing made." Nimrod got very angry and ordered his soldiers to burn Ismail inside a huge furnace. But when the soldiers approached the furnace, it miraculously became cold. Nimrod thought that maybe he wasn't strong enough to kill Ismail. So he tied him with a rope and dragged him behind his chariot, hurting his body, but Ismail remained steadfast on his faith in Allah. Finally, Nimrod threw Ismail into a deep pit filled with serpents and scorpions. Miraculously, nothing hurt Ismail. Instead, the snakes and scorpions bowed to him, and even the sand did not hurt his body. Nimrod was very upset that he couldn't kill Ismail. So he went to Ismail and said, "Do you know that I want to kill you? Choose any wish, and I will grant it for you." Ismail replied, "I wish that you become a believer in my God, Allah." Nimrod refused and left him there. After some time, Allah Almighty sent an angel to Ismail to tell him that Allah was pleased with him because he chose Allah over his life. Then Allah told Ismail that he would make him a great leader, and the people under his authority would be protected by Allah. After this conversation, the angel took Ismail out of the pit and healed his wounds. Soon after, Allah Almighty caused great harm to Nimrod and his soldiers. And all those who believed in Allah Almighty and His Messenger, Ismail, became leaders in the land. So remember, my brothers and sisters, the story of Prophet Ishmael reminds us that obeying Allah always brings goodness. Patience opens the doors of mercy. Sacrifice for the sake of Allah brings blessings. Thank you for watching. See you next time.